Hi everybody, Tim Dwyer here again. Well, as you can see today, the red duster, the red ensign is up. It is upside down, but it is up. Now, I've made some notes and I just want to cover a couple of points. That video I put up yesterday has got a little bit of traction and a lot of people have made comments, and thank you so much for your comments. Some I agree with, some I don't agree with, but you're entitled to put them up. There's only been a couple of trolls, so that's okay. Now, a lot of the questions or a lot of the statements have been made about you've got the wrong flag, you don't understand. So let me just try and correct this. I put the blue flag up, as I mentioned early on, so as that everybody in Australia would recognise it as the Australian flag as they know it to be. Doesn't make it the right flag, but as they know it to be. Now, so what I want to do is I've made some notes here, so I'm just going to read this out for us, okay? Now, I thought it important that I put this video up urgently rather than allowing the first part to percolate properly out there. However, a number of people have been commenting on the issues of the red flag versus the blue flag. Citizens versus subjects, land versus sea. Let me explain. Citizens are under the blue flag. Subjects are under the red. Land versus sea. The red flag is for the people on the land. The blue flag is for the corporation at sea. You are considered at sea. You are birthed at sea under the blue flag. Now, for those of you who don't understand this, well, hang on, I'm getting ahead of myself. So if you personally don't know that there's plenty of people online who have prepared information on the statuses of citizens, on the red flag, the blue flag, citizens versus men and women, man on the land. If you need help with any of that, I've got a little link here in this presentation that will perhaps help educate you and help you understand all this supposedly giggly poop. It's not. It's very important. It's vital for you to understand. So essentially, there's no argument. The true flag of men and women and children on the lands of the Commonwealth is under the red ensign. This is the people's flag. And we're going to come to that in a moment. And I want to make this video fairly short, sharp, and shiny. The blue flag is an administration or citizens that are a part of the administration in the citizenship, notice the terminology, citizenship, and those citizens who are deemed to be at sea. This is all legal stuff, right? As such, while the first video was to send out a distress call, so as the awareness and to provoke discussion, and it certainly has provoked a fair bit of discussion, this video is how to protect ourselves from the false government by legally standing on the land and escape the governance of the false authority as citizens, members of a corporate government. We don't want to be that. Now, we do have, and I've got people helping me with this. I'm not doing all this on my own. You've got to understand, I do not have all the answers. I'm just me. And thank goodness I've got some good friends around me that point me in the right direction from time to time. And, you know, sometimes I need a bit of a slap up the back of the head just to straighten me up. And I think we all do. But anyway, so what we're going to do is I'll put on my Facebook page for a start a claim of right letter with a notice of intent, which I sort of urge the men and women of this land to print that out, customize it, and so you can declare your standing, where you stand, right? Now, further to that, what I want to do is I want to urge everybody to recognize the efforts of the Anzacs to establish us as an independent kingdom. We are Australians. On the 25th of April, Saturday, the 25th of April, right? How about we do recognise Anzac Day. And I'm going to come to that in a minute, in a particular way. You see, there's very few days in Australia that symbolise the spirit of who we are in here, more than perhaps Anzac Day would be one of the big ones, the biggest one perhaps, and then Australia Day. So let's get to that in a moment. What I want to do is share the screen with you right now. And what I want to do is I'd like to bring this up, and I'd like to open that up. And now I've got to get rid of these things. Sorry, guys, but oh no, I've got to do that again. Apologise for that. Hide that and hide that. Now we're right. Now we're good to go. Well, this is my front page, and I will not stay silent in times of oppression. And only in death will I be seen to bow and fall silent, because some things are just worth that bigger fight. And this nation and everybody in it is worth that bigger fight. Again, our red ensign, upside down, distress call to every person, man, woman, and child in this land. This is our distress call. Now, here's some bits and pieces on the original flag that I want to cover. The original design was similar to the current flag, except the Federation star only contained 6 points. And the Southern Cross was represented by stars ranging from 5 to 9 points to indicate their relative appearance of brightness in the night sky. Also, the field was red for civil use, with the blue ensign being reserved for government use only. This is our flag. There it is there. The entrance, there was a competition to design the flag, and it was actually won by Ivor Evans, who was a student at the time. Now, again, it just goes through the same thing that says this was the flag of the people, and the blue flag was for the government. This is for merchants, for ordinary men and women. The history of the red duster, the definition of civil being, this is our civil flag, relating to ordinary citizens and their concerns as distinct from military or ecclesiastical matters. In other words, everyday men and women, the people. It's the same people who have the authority in our Constitution. It's the same people, it's you. The definition of a merchant is a man or a woman who traffics or carries on private or public trade with foreign countries, or who exports or imports goods and sells them by wholesale. In other words, everyday men and women, the people. These two definitions have absolutely nothing to do with governments, parliaments, government employees, MPs, politicians, or political parties. The blue flag is theirs. The red flag is ours. Now, here's a link to Larry Hannigan's website, and I'll try and put this up as well, but it's very, very easy. It's just larryhannigan.com, and he's got a search bar there. You can just type in red ensign, and there is a mass of understanding about what that flag is, what it stands for, who we are under that flag. And so here's the opportunity for you all to just go and have a quick look. And again, it's just those subtle things that the government over time have pulled over your eyes. It's that veil. You see, there's a book out there. It was written a couple of thousand years ago. And in it, it says, this is only for those who have eyes to see and for those who have ears to hear. Most people, you're going to try and wake a lot of people up, and they're going to not have the eyes to see or the ears to hear. They're so, the veil is so thick in front of them, they'll never see it. Now, let's get onto this corona thing. This is why we're all jammed up at the moment. This is the daily corona contagion in Australia. Updated on the 20th of April at 15:20. There it is there. If we look at this number down here, the bottom line is 0 And the next one is 50. So I got to say there's probably around about maybe 10, if that, in the whole country. So as you can see, everything's dropping dramatically. And still and yet they're locked up and they still want you to take a damn app on your phone to track you. Socialistic, communistic systems, not having it. Confirmed cases, right? As of April the 20th here in Australia. There's 2,300 people who are still showing symptoms. We've had 4,200 recover, a total of 71 deaths. And I got to say it again, 71 deaths does not in any mathematical equation add up to a pandemic. In a population of 25.5 million people, 71 deaths cannot even, you can't calculate that as a pandemic. You've got to understand this COVID thing. Yeah, it's a Trojan horse and a bloody successful one. This is the US. Look at this. This is really interesting. From week 1 of the year, right? So these are the overall weekly deaths in the US according to the CDC. Now, with this pandemic, you'd think the death rate had gone through the roof across America, the way it's being reported and told to you to terrorize the crap out of us all. Have a look at this. We go through here. This is actually, week 14 is actually the 4th of April this year. So let's work backwards from there, shall we? In 2018, 50, and this is all deaths, 55,000 people died in the same week in 2018. 56,000 and 56,500 people died last year to 49,000 this year, including the pandemic. We go back another week, 55,000 basically in 18, 56,000 in 19, 52,000 in 20. We go back another week, 55,000 or 55,500 in 18, 57,000 in 19, 51,000 in 2020. The numbers are down on overall deaths. And yet, apparently, according to all the marvelous news reporting, these guys here, they would have you believe that the world's coming to an end. And the only answer is for you to stay in your house. Do not travel, do not congregate, do not do anything, don't have sex, don't go to the pub. Just stay there. But the numbers, the actual numbers tell a whole different story. And these people here in these rooms, they're driving the whole damn thing. Interesting. Anzac Day. It's coming this Saturday. What will you do? Do you know what they did? Do you know the terror that they must have felt? See these men here, they're diggers. These men were scared. In fact, they were terrified. They were being shot and killed. They gave up their future so as you might have a freedom of choice. And do you choose to hide in your house from a flu, or will you come out of hiding and declare your freedom? You see, these men aren't running away from anything. They are running towards the bullets. They're running at the enemy so as that we may be free, not to become a nation cowering behind our front door, not to be a nation of people who are terrified to shake a mate's hand, to give a brother a hug. If these men could see how this nation has fallen to its knees, they wouldn't have done what they've done. They wouldn't have believed we've become what we become. So will you stand for them? Or are you prepared just to let their blood drain into the ground forever and what they did stand for naught? I don't think so. For you. for you, not for anybody else, for you, they died. For this nation, they died. They gave everything. The pain, the suffering, the torment of the families that were left behind, the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters, the anguish. And you're scared to step out of your house? Brave Australians were shot by the thousands at the Anzac landing. Is their legacy a nation so fearful that you won't even leave your house? Oh, dear Australians, come on. You see, on Anzac Day, do you know what I'm going to do? Where I live, we have a place where they commemorate the Anzac Day. And I'm going to go down there, and I've got this particular recording on my phone, and I'm taking my big Bluetooth speaker with me. And I'm going to be there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I am going to switch on the Bluetooth speaker. I am going to play the last post, and I will probably kneel down and pray. I might be the only one there. You might be the only one in your town where that happens.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. But the going down of the sun, and in the morning we will remember them.
You know, I could not think of a better day to come out and claim our public space. You can social distance or do whatever it is you call it. That's fine. Do you know what could happen to an unclaimed land? If we are seen not to be filling our unclaimed spaces, we don't have a parliament in place at the moment. Australia could be considered vacant and unoccupied. It's just a thought. So I don't know what you want to do on Anzac Day. It's entirely up to you. But I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to play that last post. And I'm going to be so thankful that the people, the men and the women and the young men and the boys that went did what they did, because they gave me an example of, even though you're scared, you've got to go and face your enemy. And I am still scared, but being scared is not an excuse. It just isn't, right? It just isn't. And so what we'll do now is I'm going to suggest that every one of you figure out what you want to do on Anzac Day. I could think of no better day to proclaim our freedom, to proclaim our spirit than Anzac Day. You might stand out the front of your house. You might walk up and down your street. You might drive around in your car with it blaring through your stereo. But let's get out there. Let us make Anzac Day our day to say, hey, enough. I will no longer cower in fear to something that I have nothing to fear of, except the people who are perpetrating it upon me. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope I've made it clear. I hope you understand. Have a great day. Have a great week. And let's make this year a year that all Australians will remember for all the right reasons, not the wrong. Thank you very much.